Hello and welcome to Free Soul Exploring, a podcast for freesoulholistic.com. In this episode, we explore what it's like to play in the quantum field with our guest, Leela Rose of Quantum Play Academy.
Yay.
Yay!
Yay. Okay, yay. This is so exciting. I feel so honored to be on your first podcast of this massive movement that you're creating, this online healing holistic space, this virtual space that I really feel I could feel the energy of it. So I feel so excited and honored to be here with you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
where do we, let's see, creator, what is relevant for this conversation? My journey began actually as a very logical, very responsible, like very in control human. I thought I was only good at math and physics, and there was like 0 ounce of creativity in my life. And that massively shifted when I was in optometry school. I started tuning into my inner child because I had to, because the universe wasn't really supporting me to go down that path. And so I actually began my journey with the Artist's Way and joined my first healing group with women. And things started coming through me in this healing group where we were doing healings on each other. And I began doing these theatrical healings on people. I knew nothing then about like anything, but these healing spaces were coming through me where I would theatrically play with women in the group, and these massive healings would occur. And the leader of the group like, meant to be a healer. You're meant to be a healer. And I'm like, no. I'm not healed. I cannot be. She wanted to train me. I'm like, I'm not even healed. I can't help people heal. And so I kind of pushed away from her offering to become part of her training. And I was like, okay, what do I need to feel like I'm healed? And so theater came through. And so I'm like, okay. And the universe was telling me at that time I would go in the dark and take walks and cry to the sky in the rain and just be like, what? Like just asking questions.
Yeah.
And I would go on these inner child dates. And so I began letting my inner child guide me. And that led me to begin doing improvisation, which led me to going to one of the most intense acting schools in Israel. It is the most intense, rich, really hardcore, top-notch acting school in Israel.
Cool experience.
Yeah. And then I almost like was fully absorbed into being an actress because they were like, oh my God, like you're a natural. And it felt off to me. And I felt very called. I knew the reason I was going to theater is to create a path that doesn't exist yet for people to remember who they are through play. And so I didn't really fully modalities. I would try them out, like psychodrama, drama therapy. I was like, that's too like linear or like stagnant. There's something new that needs to birth through me. And so it's really been a crazy journey over the years of trust and like just blindly talking about blindly. A big part of it is these blindfolds. As a big part of my journey actually about closing my eyes and dancing in parks in the dark. And there I would get downloads from, I feel is my star family that I dream with. And it's my soul family. We're non-physical there. And they would share ways for me to heal myself and come back, bring my soul into my body and tell me if this works for you, share it with people. So I began doing play shop gatherings in LA, and I moved from Israel to Los Angeles, and it was just a crazy journey. There are many parts to it, but it actually
really following, your intuition or your gut.
Yeah, and it was actually a lot of it was about a lot of pain and a lot of depression and I was seeking for healing, and nobody had answers for me. And so
Mm,
a lot of it was coming back to me and saying no to medication many times, because I felt that what was arising within me was very, very real, even though
mm,
nobody around me was resonant with it. They were just like, whoa, you're very sensitive, you're too much, I think you need meds. I was like, I feel deeply, I feel everybody's pain, I feel this darkness and this unraveling, and that the world isn't meant to be this way. And so a
mm,
big part of it was me going within, closing my eyes. And that's where I feel like I'm just been waiting in the quantum field for people to come play. So
mm.
my mission has been to bring more and more people on through sessions and group gatherings to begin normalizing interdimensionality and the quantum realm, and that it could all be done through play.
Wow. What
It's
an interesting story, and how all of this play work, which feels really fun and lighthearted in a way when, right, I assume I had done a session with you, a few months ago, and for me it was very lighthearted and we got to some serious things. And just for anyone listening, it was a theta healing session that we did in person. It was such a treat. Happened to be in her area, and yeah, it's really awesome. So we got really deep on some things, but it was fun and you brought humor to it. And it's really interesting to hear more about your background now, knowing that that didn't necessarily always come from a place of fun and lightness and brightness and humor. It came from feeling into darker spaces and maybe feeling isolated in those spaces and working through that.
Yeah, it was actually, it's funny because I almost feel sometimes like I'm split in two, because I'm obsessed with death and darkness and shadow and pain, because play and wild silliness and innocence, for me, it's like it's the same coin.
Mm,
So it comes together. Like everything that has ever birthed through me or been created was at the brink of massive pain, like literally, like, what the, I want out, like I want to
mm,
die. And that I want
mm,
to die was the key to how I live. It was a shedding process where I'm learning deeper soul embodiment and deeper innocence, returning to myself and clearing and killing what needs to be killed out of my system, so I could be who I truly am for the well-being of the planet.
mm.
So I feel like there's a lot of judgment and societal programming around these deep spaces that are dark or like uncomfortable. And
Right.
so what I love doing is through play, going into the dark places, the darkest of the dark, so we can bring light there. So we can
Yes.
do it through play and not make it this serious spiritual, a lot of the time Matt Kahn calls it the spiritual ego, and I've definitely looped in it many times, where it's like, this is what I need to do in order to play, is
Mm.
kind of, yeah. I feel like the energy of creation decided that this is the part I play, kind of, which is so weird. Like I didn't have this. It's somehow unfolding, and it has its own life.
So I have some questions.
Yeah,
Um,
love questions.
how do you, what are some of the practices or techniques that you use to bring playfulness into those darker spaces?
Mm, I love that question. So questions, talking about questions, curiosity is key. So for example,
Like
one
the
of my,
curiosity of a child.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. For example, one time I was flat on the floor, super depressed one day in Israel on a cold tile floor, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stuck. I want to, like, I want to die. Just like the burden of what I was feeling around me and the way life was felt so inorganic. And I already did like the acting and all of it. And a question came through. I started asking different questions rather than why. I started asking what if. All of a sudden, this question came
Mm,
of what if I get through this and then I'll be able to help other people. And as soon as I played with that question,
wow.
I felt
That's a
life
total shift.
drop into my body, and it was a time. I was literally dead on the floor, like not wanting to move, and just it. And I was like, oh my God, the power of questions. So for me, a lot
Wow.
of it is curiosity rather than judging the discomfort and the pain and all the spaces that we weren't allowed to be in as children. It's about massaging that space with curiosity. Like, just like a child plays with Play-Doh of like, what is this? Like, what can I do with it? So too is that dark energy. And it's actually crazy what can happen. Like, people with thinking they have back issues for their whole life, once they play with the energy, they can go into full orgasm and have a Kundalini awakening. Like, I've witnessed that happening just by asking questions with people, like
Wow.
massaging the story enough with questions to reach the state of pure possibility, which is how I perceive the quantum realm.
Mm.
So that's one of the ways, and there are many other ways. I would say the home base is curiosity, playful curiosity, and questions just for the sake of play, free of needing to control something or fix it or get rid of it. That measuring mind of like, okay, ask the question. Now are you gone? It's like
Yeah.
abusive. So
Yeah.
it's questions, playful questions without expectation. And I feel like we
That's
all have
beautiful.
ability naturally. We're all
Yeah.
wizards. Question.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who are new to thinking in this way and learning to
Mm,
ask questions with themselves? Do you have any advice on how to find the right questions to ask? Is there such thing as the right question, or is there a certain way that you want to think about how you ask things to yourself?
Oh, I love your questions. Just for the sake of play is a hack. I'm just
Mm,
a little. When we say we're just playing a little, what happens is our survival system calms down because it's like, oh, I don't need to protect them. I don't need to put them in fight or flight mode. And it almost the survival control part of the brain gives you permission to play because you're just playing, and playing
mhm.
threat. You're
And it
not,
kind of shuts off the judgment looping
yeah.
in the brain,
The hack
you
is
know?
I'm just playing a little with questions. I'm just playing. That's how I started playing ukulele. I'm just playing a little rather than
Yeah,
going into the story of like, I don't know what a chord is. I don't know. And now I have
right.
written two songs. So the just playing is a hack. And then the key of playing with questions is you ask a question, see how it feels in your body. Like, you're going to come up with an answer. We all have like this Google infinite information that comes down from creator. So when we tune in, like right now, like, wait, what if, if I ask myself a question, like, what if um this issue I had with my cleanse that I'm doing, I really messed up and it's going to be totally screwed up and it's horrible, and that question makes me feel dense and tight. And
Mm,
so it's almost like a program that I'm running. So if I ask, what if it doesn't matter?
right.
Whoa, that expansive and light. Oh, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
go further into that question. So it's about finding questions. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. How do you like feeling? And then getting more curious about the feeling you want to feel. So it's like you become
Mm,
the how do you say, the detective, or the like the
yeah.
laboratory person, and you get to explore.
Explore.
It actually, what it does is it shows you how free you are to feel and to
Mm,
create an experience. It's literally like a video game, and it could be very
okay.
overwhelming at the beginning when we realize how free and how powerful we are. And
Mm,
that brings some pain along, some grief. That's why play and pain, play and grief is so deeply, they're so interconnected that
mm.
it's almost hilarious.
Now that we understand a little bit more about your play approach and the questions and the curiosity, can you explain what the quantum field is and where it is and how we play in the quantum field with these questions?
Oh, you have such amazing questions. I've never been asked before. I've never been asked what the quantum field is. So it's so exciting. I feel like each of us have a different way of relating to what the quantum field is. So
Mhm.
my personal experience is also how I share it with people, like how we share how we experience the quantum field is our art piece for the planet. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
this is how I relate to the quantum field, you know? And so I feel like we each have our timing and our way. And the way I relate to the quantum field and how I perceive it and how I bring people into it, for me, it's like the black hole of infinite possibility. It's the nothingness. It's the no thing. There is nothing there, but anything is possible. It's
Mm.
the like a womb space. It's like this space of it. The funny thing is we're programmed to believe that the space of death, it's a space of death. So we do everything not to tap into the quantum field, where in fact the quantum field is where everything could be like you can receive anything from there with your tech, with your abilities. So a more simple example is like, let's say, remember the good old days when we had a VCR and DVD player?
Yeah.
So it's like the quantum space for me is having an empty DVD or VCR player and seeing an
Okay.
eternal library of all the possibilities of what I could watch.
Ooh, that's a
So
cool way to put it. I've never
yeah,
thought of it like that.
yeah. And so the quantum field is very easy to normalize. It's always, we are in the quantum field. This is a timeline in the quantum field. Me
So we're
and
already
you,
there.
yeah, we're always there. It's just a matter of if we're focusing on it, and if we are aware of it, then we get to play more
Mm.
with it. So for example, me and you now, used to, these blindfolds were a lifesaver for me because these eyes, the key to beginning to really normalize the quantum field is closing the eyes more and more, because that
Mm.
activates the inner eye, the pineal gland, which is the imagination eye. It's how we download information from creation. It's how everything is here. Everything.
Mm.
It's not something intricate. The pineal gland and do these practices to activate your kundalini. It's literally like you're a child, you get to play, close your eyes and imagine and ask questions.
Yeah.
So after practicing a lot with, there's such an attachment to what is real is what I see, right? If I don't see it, I don't believe it. The truth is that this is like the DVD player. And when we insert beliefs, programs, imagination, feelings, we get to open our eyes and experience this reality as more malleable and plasmic. We can even begin
Whoa.
objects with practice and groups and like bending spoons. And so these eyes begin, we begin seeing this reality differently. And the more me and you practice, the more me and you will be able to travel through the quantum field together, through lifetimes, through, we'll be able to create together, we'll be able to die together, we'll be able to become a butterfly together. So where the world is heading, and when people say it's the end of days, I see that as the shadow of our true awakening to what we always.
Mm. I do kind of feel that way about it too. There's been a lot of talk about this shift, the 5D shift, and the end of the world, the apocalypse, like everything is changing. Like you either make it to the new realm or you don't. Oh, you know.
It's the shadow of it, and everything has a shadow. Like even as I'm
Right.
stepping my power in leadership, or like being like, hey, I'm gonna lead the way, there's a shadow of people saying like, you're a crazy psycho, like you're, you work with Satan, and like, you know, or like, ooh, you're not spiritual because you're saying you're, there's always a shadow that comes along with the light that comes. And so
Mm.
a big part of the quantum field, so we won't be looping a nightmare, is really playing with what if there's no right or wrong? What if there's no right or wrong? What if there's no good or bad? What if there's no evil? Or that, those questions help us enjoy the quantum realm rather than
Hmm.
be dark fantasy. Because if we're resisting something, then we're looping in hell, basically. If we're like,
Mm.
anything's possible, just not you, not that reality. No, 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 no. And then all attention goes to no, 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 no. And we live that reality that we don't want. So the,
Yeah.
and the play of like going beyond duality is key to actually enjoying the quantum realm. Another thing I'd like to say is that it's very energy based. It's all energy there. Like we can shapeshift there in the quantum realm, practice seeing ourselves differently, and then like seeing ourselves in the mirror differently. So it's
So
very
it's like
energy,
visualizing, imagining, and
imagining,
then
sensing, like energetic sensation also is a huge thing that I work with people. is playing with, I call it imaginative sensation, which is imagining how I can possibly sense this physical reality. So we get to imagine and play with energy, with sensation, with thought.
So those are two of the types of games that you play with your clients and with yourself. And when you do groups and workshops and stuff like that, those are two of the different types of
Yeah.
approaches you take.
There's like imagination engineering. I love that you're asking this. Imagination engineering, imaginative sensation, and then there's the science of silliness, which is to going into silliness and why it's a hack. It gets us out.
Silliness is hard for me. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Okay, we'll play with that, Leanne.
Okay.
What if that's just a belief that you have?
No, yeah, you're probably right. Probably right.
Well, silly, the word silly has so many beliefs about the word, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the who perceives, like when I'm with you, I feel very silly, but I also feel a lot of depth. Like you're helping me reflect my own silliness.
I feel like I tend to be kind of a serious person, but who knows? I'm gonna have to explore that and question myself a little bit and ask myself some fun questions. What if I'm actually silly and I'm just pretending to be serious?
What if it's natural for you? What if you just want what if you're already silly? What if you already knew how to see yourself as silly? What if and then so that you see how the questions create freedom in the mind, and then we go into the body of like, what would this feel like? What would my body feel like if I was silly? Like, and begin normalizing as you fall asleep. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, which when I discovered him, I knew I wasn't crazy. So imagining what if, like, what would my day be like if I experienced myself as silly with my daughter and with my partner? Like, what if I did bring silliness in? So it's creating the visuals internally before and getting those visuals, these programs, these DVDs, these movies to download chemicals into the body. And then the body, you massage it into normalizing. And this is where a lot of the theater comes through, into normalizing being that way. But a big part of it, can you see now how it's correlated to death and grief? Because every time we play more, we die more. Because
we have to let go of that old understanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
To replace it with the new.
There's stories that die. There's emotional healing that happens with your family, and like parts of your soul fragments return that you let go of. And so pain and play for me are one. So
you mentioned that you like to use the blindfolds or to close your eyes and dance in the woods and to have that internal space. But I know that for some people, it can be kind of scary to close their eyes and be, with their eyes closed the whole time. It might feel unsafe for them. Do you have any advice for that?
So first of all, the interesting thing is, I haven't been using blindfold much because I'm more now playing visually with my external reality. So it's initially a way just to reference it. You don't have to come to these places with closed eyes. It's just more of like giving your eyes a rest so you can familiarize yourself with your internal technologies. It's like opening up a machine to understand how it works. So I feel like a big part of it is understanding why you're doing it. You're doing this to remember what you're capable of within yourself, how to feel into your energy, how to play with your body. A huge other reason why it's a benefit is to forget about what you look like while you're moving, or so much of what we suffer from is because of how we see or how we're seen or how we see that we're seen. So these are the benefits. When we close our eyes from all the lighting outside, it does activate the pineal gland. It like activates the whole DMT realm. Like when people take ayahuasca or goes into that state with medicine. But just when we close our eyes, we can feel more. We can more easily imagine, and we can forget about this external reality more easily and play more. There's more possibility here. And there's more focus on what we're actually feeling. Like, what are we actually feeling? That's all the benefits of why begin playing with your eyes closed. Now,
This
how to
is
feel.
fun. Actually, I think we're both talking with our eyes closed for a little bit, and now I feel like we're in the same room.
Yeah, it's really, yeah. So that's another cool benefit is we go
That's
beyond
cool.
space. When we're with our eyes closed, it's more easy to timeline hop, quantum travel, and it's more easy to witness miracles. It's
Mm.
almost like in the movie theater when they open the curtains. Imagine that every time you open your eyes, you're unveiling a new a new movie that you're going to watch based on what's happening with your energy and your emotions and your thoughts. So this is like a beautiful rest space. We don't have to close our eyes only when we're sleeping or when we're in yoga or breath work. We can close our eyes at any moment and play. So this is really
Yeah.
cool.
I have a question. One more question.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
you mentioned early on in our conversation that you would take your childhood self out on dates.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are 3 dates with your childhood self that you could recommend?
Oh, well,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
so this is a part of the artist's way book, like doing the weekly child date, that it's only you and your inner child. So it's very important that it's you and your inner child, and you ask your inner child. So I have my favorite kinds of dates, which I will share, which I share with other people, but you ask your inner child, hey, like, what do you want to do for these 2 hours? Like, what do you feel like? So my first inner child dates were my inner child asked me to go to an arts and crafts store. And
Fun.
I just walked around the arts and crafts store. I ended up working there for like 8 months after quitting optometry school. Or my inner child wanted to go to a toy store. And then I ended up getting a little doll that reminded me of my inner 3-year-old. And then I would talk to the little doll and she'd be like, I want to go into a field and play with bubbles. And so
Oh,
now I always
wow.
bubbles on me. Whenever I go on my daily hike, I'm always blowing bubbles and making wishes, or like blowing bubbles and releasing what I'm releasing. So bubble blowing is one of my favorite forms of inner child date, like nature and blowing bubbles with music. And
Love it.
yesterday I remembered that I loved twirling as a girl. So yesterday I was walking and just twirling till I got dizzy, and I couldn't like think anything, and I couldn't, because it was a week for me, and I just started twirling. I'm like, oh, like, when did I stop twirling? And so
Yeah.
I love bubble blowing. I love doodling. Like, that's an inner child date for me. I just started doodling, and I have a whole doodle book because I thought I didn't know how to color or draw at all, and I'm making these mandalas, and so doodling for me, like playing with colors. And now I even got this. So excited, playing with Play-Doh.
Oh my gosh, so
I
fun.
and also play with what play is for you. Like, I think
Hmm.
people have programming and beliefs around what play is. So at a certain time, I'd love to do a, a way to play with a word. There's a way to reconnect with the word in a new way, because
Mm,
even love, the way person experiences the word love, can bring up a lot of heaviness. So there could
mm.
be beliefs around play for you that need to be played with so you can relate to the word in a new way.
I know that you have a workshop coming up very soon.
Play
Is this
shop.
something that you cover in your
Oh,
workshop?
play shop. It's
Play
actually,
shop.
it's a month. I put the word play wherever I can
I
into
love
things.
it. I'm gonna call it that. Play shop.
I'm in a play office, play office, and
Office.
play work rather than homework. Um, so much to say. First of all, thank you for all of that. That was so juicy and exciting, and I'm like, let's talk about this. Just such a beautiful opening to so much. I feel like you opened this portal, so thank you. Um,
Woohoo.
so
I'm
it's
honored that you're here with me. We're opening this portal together. This is
yeah.
my first episode.
What
So
is
thank you.
what's the name of the movement you're doing?
Yes. Thank
What
you for
is it again?
asking.
Yeah.
So launching April 13th, 2023 is freesoulholistic.com. and it's a holistic wellness platform. And we're offering services like one-on-one services, coaching, and play shops, workshops, meditations, shaky, meditations, and there's a curated selection of really high quality, all natural products that are made by brands that I know and that I've talked to and that I've followed for a while. And I'm so excited to be working with these people. Some really, really, really good things. And
Yay.
everyone's so, uh, as I'm talking to people about their products and services being available on freesoulholistic.com, there is this excitement. I can feel it,
Mm-hmm.
it's more than just like a business conversation. It's like this, and so I'm going to be doing some more podcasts with these women and hopefully some men too. I do want to work with men, but it just happens to be all women so far, which is great. And yeah, and then the third part of it is an information library, like a database for people that are curious about holistic wellness and quantum fields and playing with our ideas and finding more natural alternatives for things. I'm putting together a whole library of information and taking from other sources and things like that too, credited, of course. So yeah,
Yay.
I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be, I think it, I think it's very much needed. There's a lot of curiosity about healthier alternatives now, and my goal is to put everything into one place and also have support systems for helping each other through our journeys as we reconnect with ourselves and find our healthiest versions of ourselves, our happiest, most whole, most felt and listened to versions of ourselves. Yeah.
Hmm. Beautiful. Yay. It
Yeah, thank
does
you for asking.
does feel exciting. When you shared it with me, I felt a lot of excitement. And I feel like excitement is a very, like, that's it. That's how you know that you're in that flight state of going toward that potential timeline where you're fully expressed and like soul embodied
Yeah,
and instant and connected. That energy of excitement is that like high level of magnetism and like alignment with creator. So I definitely feel the
very,
excitement part of it also. And
thank you. Yeah, I feel like this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, over 10 years, really. And one day in February 6th, 2023, actually, I was like, you know what? Now's the time. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Like I'm doing it. I'm starting it today, and I bought my domain and got everything rolling. And it's just kind of like you mentioned before, inspired action. It's just been inspired action from there, and everything is falling together more magically than I could have imagined.
yay. Oh, one step at a time, inspired
Yeah,
action in the unknown. And that's, and keep remembering that that's the way to go, is like the biggest dreams. Literally, all you can see is like one step at a time, really. Like there's a big vision, but it's one inspired
mm,
action at a time. It's not something that's like, this is how this is going to be controlled or managed. I'm going to do this and then that. It's a lot of it is of the energy of excitement just creates these miracles and divine timing actions that just allow us to witness the blooming of the flower that we are,
yeah.
and the fragrance that we're offering for everybody. So I definitely am enjoying the process of the blooming of this.
Thank you. I
Very neat.
really,
They
really
say,
so deep.
yeah.
What?
Oh, sorry. What are you saying?
Oh, just that I so deeply appreciate your encouragement and you coming on the show today. And I know that, we're kind of on a parallel journey, you and I, at this time, because you're starting something a little bit new too, right?
Yeah. So, um, yeah, this is gonna be, it's actually beginning April Fool's Day. Yeah, like we're gonna be downloading a game, like a way of playing with reality, basically. And then
Okay.
throughout the week, we're gonna implement this game, this way of playing with life in our physical experience while interacting with each other on the chat.
Oh,
So
cool.
kind of a metamorphosis together. We're going to be playing these internal quantum games while having support. Basically, it's $444 for a month-long journey. It's a 5-Saturday month, so we're going to have 4 download game transmission classes, and then we're going to have one 5th interactive drop-in. And people, I feel, are going to experience themselves in a new way in regards to how they express themselves in the world. That's what I feel. The intention of this group journey is to reconnect us to the energy of creation and like allow our unique puzzle piece to fully be in our body, which is a heavenly state. It's from within us. And in that, we're automatically playing a different part at a different level of the game with the collective.
And I'm just imagining like how many best friends are going to come out of this.
Oh,
People are going to get really close. It's going to get deep in there, probably.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
There's a lot of power and powerful medicine in group. Like, let's do this play work in groups. Let's witness each other. Because every person, like, we're all interconnected. So the more people in a group, the more there is to play with, the more information is coming through, the more healing occurs. So this is something, my intention this year is to actually really bring in the group medicine. This specific topic is unveiling the heaven within. So I mean, the intention for this specific journey would be like, I'm ready to see the highest truth, because there's going to be letting go of what we see as reality, of the external realm, letting go of that big thing that's been hellish for you or eking on you, or that heavy story. What is that big thing that you call reality you're letting to go, that you're willing to let go of, so you can create that space of like really seeing the truth of who you are. And so unveiling the
heaven
within, the heaven is within you. It's the heavenly state isn't going somewhere or getting something. It's in us, and it's the greatest gift we can offer each other, is to be in that heavenly state, because then it awakens that vibration in another. And so I guess it's also a big initiation of service, to really stepping into your service for the planet and for the collective and what we're experiencing now.
Yeah, and for ourselves, like on a personal level. And I can just imagine the ripple effects, like with family interactions and relationships, friendships, and
there's going to be parental healing of the heart in the process as well, which is a huge part of our soul embodiment, is really healing our relationship with how we perceive our father and mother, and reconnect with divine father, divine mother love to creator, so we can be in this state. So it's going to be deep, exciting, and I'm getting more and more excited, because I don't know until I know it's going to come through. Like, I create a structure, and then creator's like, okay, now get out of the way. Hands up and let me work through you. Like, let me do this. And so there is a structure, there's that outline, and I will, once they sign up, they'll get a game to play with. There's a first game to start exploring.
Oh, like an introduction?
Yeah, like an introduction game. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you that hear this podcast, and I'm so excited to grow with you. Instagram is a great way to connect with me, message wise. That's the best way to connect with me now. Facebook, my name is still spelt a little differently. It's going to become Leela, but now it's Leela Rose, but it's going to be Leela Rose. But maybe
lots of shifting, lots of changing and rebirthing and new birth. Oh, how exciting. And in the meantime, people can reach you at quantumplayacademy@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So sounds good.
And don't be shy to ask me questions about the journey. But yeah, just don't be shy. I love questions. If they're curious, have more questions. And there is a payment plan option if people need. Yeah, and it's 4 p.m. Pacific. That's the
4
time.
p.m. Pacific time. I love all the fours. 4 is my lucky number. So
and there will be recordings if you can't make one.
Oh, good.
I'll be recording the Zoom link, and I can share if they happen to miss one. So, or two.
Okay.
Or, yeah. Anyway, darling.
Awesome.
Thing.
Yay.
First podcast with Free Soul Holistic.
Yeah. Well, thank you to whoever is watching. Thank you so much for being here.
I just want to thank them for gifting with their attention, because attention is the most valuable currency on the planet. When you gift your things, it is giving life to creations. And so thank you for gifting us your attention.
Yes, I fully agree with that. I think that's a wonderful way to put it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Darling.
you.